not an option.
Cherished.
We're alive.
Sorry, see, it's either I'd say nothing at all or say it all. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show with no name. I'm Theonie Roussianos, and this is, I think it's that way. And thank you for coming back. We know we've got some regular viewers who keep coming back for more, and that's kind of a little bit exciting. Almost feel like, and I'm only going to say this because Mark's coming on, almost feel like a judge, well, not really a judge. I feel nothing like a judge on X Factor. Aussie Idol, whatever it was, Aussie Idol. Sorry, got the wrong one.
Where did that come from? Anyway.
I have no idea. So today, to our show here, for those of you who don't know what we're about and who we are, Adaire and I we dreamt up this show to help people, not-for-profits, people doing things in their community for charity or another not-for-profit or the charity themselves, to help them spread their cause, raise awareness for their cause, raise funds for what they're raising awareness for, because ultimately, you know, you need money to get your stuff out there. And just to help the community, you know, because quite often there are some amazing people doing amazing things out there and we just don't know about it. So if we don't talk about what each other's doing, then, you know, we don't know, because we don't know what we don't know. And it all started because both of us have been involved in community projects separately, and then we ended up marrying them all together and working on them together. It's just the evolution of mankind, isn't it?
Or something, an evolution of something. But I think the ideas of having the charity side of things, the fundraising side of things, and also the social media side of things was what got us excited about this whole helping people help people, which is something that's dear to both of our hearts. And obviously Theonie's got her story with her husband's illness, which has led her to be putting on events to raise money for Kidney Transplant Diabetes Research Australia. We can talk a little bit about that. We could give this ball a bit of a plug as well. And I'm sure we'll weave that into the conversation, because that's coming up in a month. It's exactly a month, isn't it? It's like,
Stop.
All right, breathe. Before I introduce Mark, I'd just like to say, please invite people. Use the invite button. It is, if you are on your computer, you go into theatre mode, which means you double click on the image, and it will be a little silhouette with a plus sign. I'm going over the top right-hand corner. If you are on your phone, there should be a share button down the bottom left, or an invite button there as well somewhere. I don't do it often. I use my phone for that very often. Please invite people that you know will benefit from hearing the information and the wisdom that we are bringing to you through the special guests that we have on the show. And also, if you're in the replay, welcome, and please feel free to share, because inviting your friends is a function that is when you're live. But if you're watching the replay, do share and we'll get the word out. Now to introduce Mark. Mark Holden approached Rotary. It probably feels like a long time ago now. It's probably 10 or so months ago, and we have been working with Mark. Theonie and I have been working with Mark and Rotary to help with a series of events across South Australia, which is now completed. And one of the things that we did when we decided to bring Mark back on and talk about the aftermath of the events was, what happens is we talk stuff up about when people are going into events and when they're creating their events, but really there's not a lot of wrap up, or to either celebrate your successes or learn your lessons, or to share the learning so that other people can, you know, so that we can do it better next time. So we've got Mark here. He's going to bring him in now, and we're going to have a bit of a wrap up of the event and more. Welcome, Mark.
Hi, ladies. Howdy. How you doing?
I can hear you. Theonie, are you? She's shaking her head.
You can't hear me?
Oh, now I can. It was just a little bit of delay at my end.
Okay, there we go.
Getting
Welcome
a little
to the
bit
show.
nervous there.
Thank you for giving us your time again, Mark. We really do
Hey, my
appreciate
pleasure.
you.
I appreciate what you ladies have done and are continuing to do. It's great. I love it.
And hi to
Hi there,
Jenny.
Jenny. Hi, Jenny.
Hi, Jenny.
See you here. Great to see you here. Now, Mark, it was a pretty amazing thing that you've done with Rotary, helping to raise funds for ROMAC. And so if we could just go maybe back to the beginning and sort of have a little bit of a chat about why you decided to reach out and talk to Rotary about potentially, you know, sort of tapping into our communities, I guess.
Yes, I've my show, The Greatest Show on Earth, was a one-man show that I created, which was launched at the Adelaide Cabaret Festival in June, and it was really a fabulous experience. I really loved it, and then I wanted to get out into the community, like my family circus did. My family had a circus. The show is about my family circus, the Holden Brothers Travelling Circus, and they travelled through the communities from the Bellarine near Geelong all the way to Ceduna and back, from about the 1890s right through to about the 1950s. And then they kind of petered out. Television kind of screwed it up for them, and they were one of the circuses that didn't survive. Many have survived. But so I wanted to retrace their steps and engage with the community. And I reached out, just a cold call, to Tea Tree Gully Rotary, just total cold call, and I got onto Glenn Mitchell, and Glenn raised the idea of ROMAC, and ROMAC being a sort of a subset of Rotary that raises money to bring young children from the Pacific area, from the Pacific region, to Australia for life-changing, life-saving surgery, and they need basically $30,000 a kid, really, is what it amounts to. So it's been a 30-year process for ROMAC, and I just went, that seems like a great fit to me. So with the help of you two, Theonie and Adaire, and with Brett and his team, and with Glenn and his team, we pulled it off. You know, we were hoping to do Renmark and Port Pirie as well. Port Pirie tried, but it kind of fell over, and Renmark we couldn't get up, but we did get up Mount Gambier, Morphett Vale, Tea Tree Gully, and Port Lincoln. So we did those, and they were fantastic. They were really, really, really good. We did Mount Gambier first, and my wife and I drove over from Melbourne, and we foolishly used Google Maps, and so we found ourselves going through little tiny back roads. We felt like Bonnie and Clyde, you know. And
I'm just laughing.
Never do that again. If you're going to a big city,
just driving to my house. That's Adaire driving from Tea Tree Gully to Kidney Park.
I actually got lost in Sydney using Google Maps a couple of weeks ago, and I ended up, what was supposed to be a 1.8 kilometre walk took me 11 kilometres.
Yeah, it's much easier just to take the main highways.
Google Maps is off the menu.
Yes, it might have theoretically been the shortest way, but it was not the shortest way. And in any case, it started out in Mount Gambier, and that was just lovely. We had did we have how much did we raise it? I think 2,000 or 3,000. I think there, and then we did Morphett Vale, and that was at a winery at St. Francis Winery in Ranella. And that was a lovely, lovely evening. And Don Hopgood, the former politician, came to the event, and it was lovely to see Don. Don taught me at school. Had a great conversation with him, and that was a lovely little event in the winery. And then we went over to Port Lincoln, and Port Lincoln was in a beer place, a beer brewery, and it was again just a beautiful, beautiful evening, and the people were also lovely. And then the kind of the height of it was the one that Tea Tree Gully organised, which was a real wham doozy of an event. It really was. It was big. It was big. It was big.
It was fantastic.
It was big. It was fantastic, and I think we raised altogether over $15,000 in total. And it ended up being really a lovely event, all of them, and it was great for Anna, my wife, because she's American, and to get around and see those places was something that she otherwise wouldn't have seen. And we particularly loved Port Lincoln. Port Lincoln was just. We went down to Coffin Bay on a day off, and we took our little dog, and the little dog, we got busted in the hotel sneaking a dog into the Port Lincoln pub. They busted us, and we've never been busted before. That was the first, and fortunately they didn't kick us out. But the next morning, having been busted, the dog got out and was running up and down the hallway and barking at all the cleaning staff. And so I think the Port Lincoln Hotel was happy to see the back of us, but we just loved Port Lincoln. That we went down to a place called Mickerer Station, and it's just the most beautiful part of the world. I can't tell you how lovely it was down there. And we went to Mickerer Station, and there were koalas just everywhere. I mean, for Anna, and even for me, I'd never seen so many koalas just naturally, and you just like 10 feet away, 5 feet away, hanging from a tree. It was just beautiful. So it was a combination of really good fundraising, really lovely people that we met, and also just enjoying a kind of a grand tour, of South Australia. With my wife and our little dog. So it worked out really, 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 really well. And I haven't actually gotten the final number, but I do believe it's around about $15,000 that we raised on this event.
That's pretty amazing. I just want to say, Linda said, can I add those keys to my annual total?
Of course you can.
I already have, Linda. Now, I'm walking for Theonie and I, and a whole heap of other people are walking for motor neuron disease. And the challenge was to do 1,000 Ks in a year. And I started in March, and I'm up to about 380 now. So I've got to get my skates on.
So you've got to get yourself lost again so that you can...
I've been chucking laps of the island. I'm thinking this morning, I thought I could do 2 laps. That's 10 Ks. So it's a lap of the island is 5 Ks, but I'll go out and I'll do another lap a bit later on. So yes, Linda, I'm definitely adding those Ks to this is all building awareness for motor neuron disease as well. Kim is laughing. I think she was actually laughing at the dog story.
Now, Kim is watching all the way from the US, and she's another wonderful. We interviewed Kim a few weeks ago. So her grandson has a life-threatening kidney disease, and she's working on raising awareness and money and things for another cause, obviously. But that's another story for another day, because we are going to get Kim back. We did speak to her a couple of weeks ago.
Go for it, Kim. Good on you.
Yes. Now, Kim was one I mentioned earlier when we were chatting before we went live, is she has her sights set on Ellen. She wants...
Here's a segue.
Yeah, that was a segue.
Here's a segue. So, Kim, we were speaking to Mark off air earlier about how to approach celebrities for, to be a patron or an ambassador of a cause, or, whatever the capacity is that may be. And that's how you came up with wanting to get Carson in front of Ellen. So Carson is Kim's 6-year-old grandson. And so that's her aim. He absolutely loves Ellen, and we want to help her get him in front of her. Do you know her?
I don't. No, I love her though. Who doesn't love Ellen? Who doesn't love Ellen? If you don't ask, the answer's no. Who doesn't love Ellen? But she must be bombarded, I would think.
Yeah.
She would be bombarded. But I'm sure she still picks up individual causes if they keep, but the thing is, I think the trick is that you've got to get through to the person, because particularly with somebody like Ellen, she'd be surrounded by so many layers of helpers and managers and agents
minders
and producers.
I was going to say she'd have an entourage of security probably too.
She would, but so the trick with her would be to get through to her personally in some way, and I don't know how to do that, other than perhaps actually getting into the audience, maybe,
or Twitter.
Yeah. Or no, but getting actually into her show.
She probably doesn't manage her own Twitter account, though. She probably doesn't manage that herself.
I don't know. The POTUS does.
but if you're able to get into the show, into the audience, that would be probably the best way.
Oh, look at this.
She says I've got a phone number. Wow.
Yes, it's amazing what you can do with social media. And
there you go.
Yes, yeah. So we will watch that with your journey and help you along the way, Kim, as much as we possibly can. And it's but what I like about what Kim's doing is that absolute determination that she's not going to stop until she gets what she's, and
it certainly takes that in any cause that you get involved with. You've got to have that laser-like intensity. You can't, because there are so many good, really fabulous good causes, and every one of them is in its own right fabulous. But there's if you've got your own one, you've just got to be laser-like and bear down and not take no for an answer. And it does take that. It really does.
It looks like we're on our way to the US, Adaire.
Okay, Kim. I've been to a show before 9 years ago. We need masses of people messaging, but I made contact with the producer. You guys are coming with us.
Well, I'm going to America in a week or so, so I'll line up.
You can pick our tickets up for us. So it's crazy good. So it's like you said, there are amazing causes out there, and I guess you need to pick the right person when you're looking at a celebrity to choose that you want to help promote what it is that you're doing. Yes. I guess you need to think who would be interested in the actual cause that you're trying to share out there. So,
well, the other one that I've been involved with lately, of course, is the Ice Factor in Adelaide.
Yes.
And the Ice Factor is something that I've been involved with for probably 10 years. And the Ice Factor, the reason that I got involved in that one for two reasons. One, because it was organised by Mari Shaw QC, who is an extraordinary woman. And I got involved with the Ice Factor before I became a lawyer. So yes, it's over 10 years ago. And Mari is a QC, and I was working with the Ice Factor because it was involved with the suburbs around Adelaide, like the northern suburbs of Adelaide, Salisbury, Elizabeth, and the southern suburbs, Christie's Beach and Wollonga, and those are what we used to call the housing trust suburbs. And
so just the lower socioeconomic areas
yes,
of
the housing
Adelaide.
trust. And the reason that it interested me was because my father worked for the housing trust in the 60s, and so I was a part of my father's life and his, so I knew something about those areas, and particularly the south, where my cousins and my family, or my uncle David King was the first doctor at Christie's Beach, and so I had a sort of a personal connection to it. So I understood that there were multiple levels of welfare dependence and multiple generations, and I knew all the problems that had evolved over the last 50 years from the housing trust suburbs. So it immediately had a personal connection with me because of my father, and so that's what initially got me involved when I was first involved in the Ice Factor. And then of course I got to know Mari Shaw, and I got to see how extraordinary she is, and then as it turns out, through the Ice Factor, I actually did my articles in her court when she was a judge. So that got me even more closely connected with it. And then, when I was in her court, doing my articles, she'd run over at lunchtime between doing court cases over to the ice rink over there in Brompton, and say, okay, Mark, here's the kids, say something to them, say something inspiring. But it's a fabulous thing. What it is she's created these teams, these ice hockey teams, and excuse me, and to be a member of the team, you have to stay in school, you have to be engaged, and then you get, because it's not easy to get the ice skating, what do you call them, shoes, or and all the equipment. So it's an expensive thing that normally those kind of kids wouldn't have an opportunity to be involved with. So, but they become members of a team. So it's team building, and then they get to work at the ice rink, and so they earn money, and they get an experience of actually working for a living and a job, And so there's all these levels of community creating, and so that the kids get into a group of people who are like-minded and are actually, not just dropping out of school, smoking dope.
They don't become a statistic.
They're not becoming a statistic. They get involved with these teams, which are team building, and so therefore there's connection building. And so it's a really great thing. Some people react to sport, some people react to the arts, but every kid's got a different way that you can engage with them. And this is the way that she's chosen, through the Ice Factor. And we've seen over the years a lot of the people who have come out of the Ice Factor who have gone on to university and good jobs and having a good life, or working in the army, and so it's a really positive thing. But it also, she connects the business community to those ice teams, and so that for example, we have every 2 years we have an ice spectacular at the Hilton in Adelaide, and we just had it a few weeks ago, and it's getting bigger every year, and that's her huge annual fundraising event. But what she does is she gets the kids to go on the catwalk and parade, and she gets clothes from all the different clothes shops around Adelaide. So the kids get into a nice suit, or the girls into a lovely dress, and they go onto the catwalk, and they're stars, and it's all about self-esteem building and being connected to the community. And it's really, and so there were 190 kids this year on stage, which was the biggest. And I think she raised like $40,000 or $50,000 that night. I mean, it's an extraordinary thing that Mari does. And again, it's because her own daughter had some problems when she was going through secondary school. And this was Mari's way of getting her daughter connected, was through the ice rink. And that's how she got involved. That's how she started it, and that's how she got involved. And now she's turned it into this extraordinary thing that's been going for, well over 10, 14, till I don't know how many years it's been going for. But it's taken her laser, her laser attention and her intensity and her complete belief. It's one woman, really. She's got a lot of helpers. She's got a lot of us who are happy to help her. But it's really her own power of her own individual person. It's just her vision and her intensity that's kept it going, because they have had problems. Theonie and I were talking about it off camera, that that they looked like they were going to lose the ice rink at one point in the last year, and that I believe that hasn't happened. I think Mari's fought through that. But she gets politicians. Simon Birmingham was there a couple of years ago at the last one, and the new Liberal Party in Adelaide was well represented this time at the event a couple of weeks ago. And so she and the kids have this sense of being connected to a community and not just being abandoned. And it's really, really an amazing thing that she does. But she's kept it going for over a decade. So
it just goes to show it doesn't matter how busy you are. So Mari's top Adelaide QC.
She is, yes.
There's truth to what they say. If you want something done, ask a busy person. But it doesn't matter how busy you are. If you believe in the cause and you've got a real passion for what it's about and what the end result is, you'll find the time to get it done.
That's exactly right.
And the army, you know, it takes a village to get anything done. So you'll get people behind you to back you, to help you put it together. Yeah. But if you've got that drive, it doesn't matter what else you've got going on, there's always a way to get it done.
I think that's absolutely true. And that is one of the truest truisms. If you want something done, ask a busy person, because she is just ridiculously busy. But you know, and it's kind of chaotic. The nights are kind of chaotic. You know, the way that it's not run in a traditional way. You know, it's kind of a chaotic night. but she just powers through, and it's a fabulous. It was the best event of all of them so far this year, and the room was absolutely packed to the brim. It's building every year. It's building into something bigger and bigger. And like I said, I think she raised over $40,000-$50,000 in one night, which is no small achievement.
I like what Jenny has said. She said the power of passion and determination can never be defeated. This has always been my belief and why I won't quit. Now, I think you said if you want something done, ask a busy person. I think we could take that up a level and say if you want something done, ask a passionate person, or a person who's passionate about it. So
yes.
Cherie, Cherie's still learning to drive my time TV. It's all right.
Fantastic comment. What fantastic? Oh, because it said fantastic. I thought she meant the previous fantastic comment. I thought she was talking herself up.
Good to see you here, Jackie.
And she should talk herself
up. So we
up.
should get when Glenn gets back, when Glenn and Joylene get back from overseas, we should check in with him and just see if we can get a final number on what the final number was, because it would be good to know.
Yes, and I think like the spin-offs from that in terms of more exposure for Rotary, and because it's one of those clubs that, or one of those.
Yes.
Well, for ROMAC as well, because ROMAC, when I joined Rotary, I didn't know what ROMAC was, and it was really only even when you go through induction, they'll say this is the projects that we work with, these are the programs that we have, the international aid, and there's different things, and I just went, oh yeah, and it didn't actually mean anything until you get involved in something like this, and then it comes home as to what an impact you're actually making.
Well, it's like these kids. It's like these two kids coming in to Melbourne at the moment that are conjoined. There are these individual stories out there in the world.
Are they the kids who share a bowel?
Yes, and they're being separated over the next few days or something.
So they share a liver. They share a liver and a bowel, I think it is, but they've got two hearts and
So I mean, that's one story. Yeah, that's just one story, and ROMAC have done 500 of those.
I know.
Yeah, and over the years, I remember growing up in Beacon Hill, there was an ad on TV, because we had one TV station, so you saw every commercial that came on. And there was an ad with Dr. David.
Yes.
And it was about the craniofacial unit. So they were obviously raising funds and things to support the craniofacial unit. And so I knew who he was growing up, but I still had not heard of ROMAC. I had no idea of his connection with ROMAC, but I didn't know what ROMAC was. So it's not until you get involved with these kinds of events. And this is why, Adaire, and I want to interview people, because there are all these amazing things happening in the world that we need to know about, because they can't do what they do without money.
But it takes people to be forces of nature to push through, and I want to thank you two for helping me and helping us do this ROMAC event, because you two are a force of nature. God bless you.
It was an absolute pleasure.
You are a force of nature, and you didn't give up, and you didn't give up when there were plenty of opportunities to give up. And that's the thing. That's the thing that's fabulous. But that is what it takes. That is what it takes.
Yeah. So I think it does, and I think that determination and that passion and that that just saying, well, we just will not quit, like Jenny said. We will not quit. We'll just
push
keep
on.
going. Just push on.
And then I won't let you quit on things that matter to me, so I can't quit on things that matter to you. So
well said. Beautiful.
And as our friend Kirsty Roach says, and the title of our next book, Theonie, it takes a village. Hashtag.
She says our next book like I've already written one.
Oh, she has. So seriously, she's written it. It's just not on paper. We'll get there. You'll get there. We both will. But we've got to wind it up here. We've got Theonie's got because I'm sunning myself in sunny Queensland, and Theonie's got a
God bless you, lucky girl.
She's got to race across town because we have our Women in Business Adelaide events on the first Thursday of every month, and of course I'll be here. I'll be setting up another Be Live broadcast, and we'll be live streaming part of that into the Women in Business Adelaide group. So with the lovely Peter Pryor, who's going to teach us how to do face aerobics. Like, talk about we're all encompassing. We can talk about many topics in the same day.
Yes, and then I've got to drive across town to pick up a couple of donations for the ball. I got messages this morning from people who are donating some silent auction items, so I've got to go pick all that stuff up.
Do a plug for the ball, Theonie.
I will. Visit tix.yt/KTDRA Ball 2018. Adaire will type that up and put it in the link.
I will.
3rd of November, keep it free. Mark's checking his diary to see if he's in Adelaide on the 3rd of November. I just saw him look down.
Well, actually, I do need to come to Adelaide on numerous occasions because I was sold 3 times for ROMAC. And one time for one time for the Ice Factor, so I'm going to be. I've got four lunch/dinners that I've been sold for that I've got to come to Adelaide for. So I need to plan some times.
Can I put you on the spot and ask if we can sell you at the ball?
You can. Of course you can. Of course.
An experience. And if you're here, we can let that go to live auction. What are you doing on the 3rd of November in all seriousness? Because this will help us.
I'm going to America with my wife next week or the week after. Her brother's not well, unfortunately.
Okay. So you can't cancel that.
But we can still sell Mark.
Yeah, you can. You
permission.
Can still. Yeah, you can. You've got my permission. But I've got to sort out the 4 that I've already been sold for, and one of them actually is Glenn and Joylene, and one of them is a guy called Paul Harvey and Kim, and another one is there's a bunch of them, but I'm going to do them because I've made that commitment, and the money's been handed over, so I've got to get myself to Adelaide for them. So I will be doing that.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And we'll touch base to see exactly what it is that you're willing to give up so that we can do something up. Well, I need to get it all to my auctioneer.
Good on you. All right, ladies.
Now, before we go, Kim wants to know which part of the USA you'll be in. She's not a stalker. She's a doctor.
We'll be in Los Angeles.
And Kim's in Virginia.
Oh, I'd love to go to Virginia. No, I want to do the whole South at one point. But no, we're just going to Los Angeles, Orange County, actually.
Lovely. Yeah. Oh, lovely. Yeah. Visit your daughter?
We will hopefully get to see her. She works, all the time now, but she might deign to give us some time.
She might be able to squeeze mum and dad into the.
Might be able to squeeze us in. Yes.
It has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for.
Thank you, girls. Thank you, ladies.
Investing the time with us, and we do look forward to auctioning you off. We'll see you next week for the show with no name, and Thursday morning at 9:30 Australian Central Standard Time.
Well, it'll be daylight savings time. It won't be Central Standard Time next week.
Oh, Central Daylight Time. Yes, got it. See you later. Bye.
Bye for now.